Kelford had one time, they fixed them.
I used to do this for day all the time, I'm used to it.
Thank you for waiting. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order. If you please rise. I ask Councilwoman Owen to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any additions to the agenda from the board members?
I have one. The clerk would like to amend the general fund vouchers for June, deleting voucher number 517. And the total for general fund voucher for June is now $22,483.97. It was just, Bill, that's not good. It's not ours. Okay.
Anything else? Now, are there any conflicts of interest with any of the board members for the agenda item tonight? All right. At this time, I'll open the public hearing on local law number 2. And in order to give everyone an opportunity to attend who wishes to, we will do a little bit of business beforehand, and then hear comments shortly. So financial matters, we have general fund vouchers that were audited, vouchers 530 to 555, totaling $25,841.10. Highway fund vouchers 354 to 374, totaling $262,247.71. Coastal water vouchers 47 to 49, totaling $2,969.62. And coastal light voucher number 5 for $171.89. Are there any questions regarding any of the bills in the? If not, can I make a motion? May I have a second?
I'll second it.
A motion and a second to approve the vouchers for payment. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. You have copies of the financial reports for the month of June. Total of all funds of $835,631.89. Any questions regarding the financial report? Not, can I get a motion to approve? Councilman Berger? And a second? I'll second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. At this time, we'll open the public hearing on proposed local law number 2, year 2025, a local law establishing zoning guidelines for solar energy systems, zoning updates, and amending Article 2 of the Town of Bennington zoning law, providing for the creation of zoning overlay districts and solar overlay districts. The hearing is specific to the proposed local law, and it's not pertaining to any other zoning matters the town's been working on. discussing green energy projects in the town or other issues. This will help maintain more accurate recording of the comments for the board to consider. We do have a court reporter here to take down comments. So we are asking that people, if you're planning on commenting, to use the sign-in sheet in the back as well, and please speak as clearly as you can and identify yourself by name. This is not intended to be a question and answer period. If you have comments on whether or not an issue has been addressed in the law, copies are available in the back, and they have been made available on the town website throughout the development of the law for people to read. Any questions can be made here tonight or to the town clerk this week, and the board will review the law and respond on our website. We don't want to spend time digging through the law to answer any specific question that you may have. In order to allow each person an opportunity to speak, we're limiting verbal comments to 3 minutes. If there are additional comments a person wants to make on the law, they can be submitted to the town clerk. Comments will be reviewed by the zoning update committee and the board and considered for possible revision and inclusion in the law. This law tonight has been updated and revised over a dozen times in the past year in an effort to address comments and concerns made previously by residents and in consultation with our attorneys, engineers, and planning agencies. The board will be setting a date tonight on when the vote on the law will take place. That will give us time to consider any of the questions or comments that are made tonight and include any possible changes. And as with a previous attempt to adopt a law, if there are significant changes to the law, that would really necessitate a revised law and another public hearing. So please sign in for the meeting so the clerk can get accurate minutes, and we can also respond with more information. So are you ready for your notes? All right, I will open the floor for comments.
I'll break the ice.
Okay,
Okay, Charles Eckert. Just want to thank the board for their hours to come up with 14 versions of the law. I think it's a good compromise between those who are for it and those who are against it. It's as simple as that.
thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Arian Dunlap. I live at 467 Tinkham Road, and I wanted to thank everybody who was doing that also. It took a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of studying and looking at stuff, and I do really appreciate that. I did read the law, and I'm not saying that stuff in here isn't covered in that, because I didn't, and there was a lot of jargon in there that I might have glazed over, but I had a couple of things that I wanted to bring up. I looked at, Livingston County has a great website with all the different towns with all of their laws, and I clicked on a bunch of them. A couple of things that I saw, I think we have a great law, but there are things that maybe we could improve on and put in. So a couple of things that I saw, I guess one of my questions was, if the current project that we have is modified, we have in section 1.9, it talks about how you have to come into compliance. So I guess that my question is, if that Church Road project changes ownership, do they have to come up to compliance with the new law that will be enacted? Second question, how far are the buffer zone trees from the fence? If the trees in that buffer zone die, do they have to be replaced? And how long does the company have to replace them? Should that be in the law also? Because I did not see that. Who's the person in charge of the oversight? Is there a required view shed study for the adjacent properties so they can see what they're going to see? Is there a wind rating for the solar panels that they will sustain a certain amount of wind? they last to 100 miles per hour, or 50 miles per hour. Is there snow load capacity, because that is in certain laws, how much snow can be put on them before they'll crumple. Another one that I think is really important, time limits on completion of the project. In Portage, New York, they do have a law that talks about how you have to get your building permit within 12 months of approval from the board, and if they don't, then the project dies, and then within 12 months of that, construction has to start, and if it doesn't, it dies. That would mean that the 77 project would be dead at this point, because that's been going on since before COVID. Can we limit where the driveway of the solar system entryway can be, as opposed to where a person's house is? On Church Road, it's like 14 feet, which I don't think any of us want a driveway 14 feet from our backyard, with big trucks and things going by. Do we have any laws about the battery storage systems, the battery energy storage systems? I did see one mention in the law where they had that, but there's nothing that talks about anything battery storage wise. And do we need a moratorium on that? There are a lot of towns that are actually prohibiting the battery energy storage systems. Do we have a law that prevents circumvention of the size and coverage of the solar panels? In Dansville, you can't parcel the land up to get more coverage for the solar panels. It has to be what the land has been for the past 10 years, according to the tax rolls. Construction hours, are there any laws about that? There are laws that have construction from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with no federal holidays included in that. Is there any setbacks from occupied residences? In Mount Morris, it has to be 1,000 feet from a actual residence, not the property line. So their house to where the solar system would be. Do we do any noise studies? York does one to demonstrate that the operational noise will not exceed pre-existing noises, except during construction. Is there a stormwater erosion control plan? The height of them, I talked to somebody from Buffalo Solar. He said that with the ground mount and the solar panels, it's not any higher than 8 feet. So why do we have 20 feet in ours? He said the only reason for that would be that they would stack them on top of each other, so a two-tier system. And if we look at, according to Google, a one-story house is 10 to 15 feet tall, where a two-story house is 20 to 20 feet tall. If we're allowing 20 feet for solar panels, they're gonna be as high as houses.
I'm gonna have to interrupt you
Okay.
there. But you have,
Okay.
is there anyone else that has comments that they would like to make regarding the solar law? As I said, there's comments back there. I do want to acknowledge at this time, thanks. We have several people in the audience today who have participated and attended many of the meetings that we have held, and we appreciate their input and comments. No one else? Actually, if it's all right with the board, I'd like to give Mrs. Delma an additional 3 minutes. Okay?
I just had a couple more. So, I've lost my stuff though.
That's where you were.
The house, they're as big as a house, yeah. Do we have a plan to return the parcel to its original state? Like when decommissioning goes on, there are lots of laws that talk about how that's going to happen. There are certain towns that only say that you can have a total of 7 solar projects within the entire town. Is that something that we would want to look into? Some people limit on acres. Once you hit 150 acres, then it's done. I don't know exactly where ours fall within that. There are laws that talk about how inspectors need to come in and once a year and look at everything, look at the construction, make sure that all of the nuts and bolts and everything are where they're supposed to be. and a third party at the expense of the, solar company. Is there anything in the law about damage done to the roads? If they do damage by bringing in lots of stuff, who repairs that? So there are laws that will talk about that, in different towns, they have those. And then it has to be inspected by our town highway superintendent, at their discretion. So, if something happens to the roads because of all the large utility vehicles coming through, who's going to, fix that? And just, I know everybody talks about we don't wanna be too strict. I did just today find a document talking about all the counties within all the entire state with maps of New York State and where they're stricter, where they're less strict. And I like the previous gentleman said, there is a balance between the two of them. There are many towns that are much, much stricter than we are. There's a town of Middleburg that says absolutely no large-scale industrial solar. There's multiple counties and towns within the state that have that. There is one, and the last thing that I want to mention, in Saratoga County, they do have a law that says that there can only be 150 acres of solar panels throughout the entire county, and that commercial solar projects over 25 kilowatts, which I feel is really small, but that's what it said, are only allowed in industrial and commercial zones, and maybe that's related to our overlay districts, I'm not sure. And that they must be roof mounted and not ground mounted. So there are lots of other things out there, still lots and lots of information. Ours is really big, it has lots of good stuff in it, but there are other things that we potentially could tweak and maybe make a little bit better.
Could you provide your written comments to the town clerk?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on the proposed law?
I'm a little late, so I don't know if this was already addressed, but my apologies to the board.
I'm sorry, you have to,
I'm Jenny
your
Dimick.
last, okay.
Wait, what was last name? Dimick. You spell it? D-I-M-I-C-K. I'm a little late, so I don't know if this was already addressed, so my apologies if it was. I had to work. The fencing, we had discussed this a while back about raising the fence so many inches off the ground. Was that in there?
Yes, and it's in the law, there's copies of the law back there.
Yeah, I just got it, so
Okay,
before you close the comments, I wanted to ask,
Okay.
what does it say in there pertaining to the inches?
and we're not responding to questions because that would slow down this whole thing, going through the law and picking out parts, but if you've got questions.
Just real quick, I think the current draft is 5 inches above grade.
Okay, thank you.
But if you have any questions, you can submit them, and the town board will respond to them after the meeting and post the responses on the website. Anyone else? Any questions regarding the proposed zoning law? If not, could I get a motion to close the public hearing? Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Under unfinished business, we have resolution 2025-7-1, set date of special session of the town board to adopt proposed local law number 2, year 2025, a local law establishing zoning guidelines for solar energy systems and zoning updates and amending Article 2 of the Town of Bennington zoning law, providing for the creation of zoning overlay districts and solar overlay districts. We reviewed our schedules, looking for a date that would work for town board members to convene a meeting. We do want to, wait until after July 30th, because the planning board, whom we anticipate having comments to the board on this law, they're postponing their meeting from next Wednesday to the 30th. So if it is still good for everyone on the board, we will set the date of a special meeting of the town board for August 7th. At 7:30. And the purpose of that will be to complete the environmental seeker resolutions regarding lead agency and the full environmental assessment form, and to vote on the adoption of the solar update. And that will give the board several weeks to review the comments that have come in. Right now, we have just one written comment that's come in from the county planning board regarding their review, and they found that the law was well written and easy to understand. And as per the lead agency declaration that was made at our June town board meeting, copies of the notice for lead agency along with the review of the proposed zoning law was sent to the DEC, Department of Transportation, Department of Ag and Markets, the Town of Darien, the Genesee County Planning Board, the Town of Morella, the Erie County Planner, the New York State Office of Renewable Energy Siting, the Ag and Farmland Protection Board of Wyoming County, the Town of Sheldon, the Town of Attica, and the Town of Alden. So we have a board meeting for August 7th at 7:30. I'm getting a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Carried. Okay, under new business, we have resolution 7-2, create and set salary of lifeguards and senior lifeguard. Be it resolved, the town board hereby creates the following positions in the youth recreation program effective July 8th, 2025. Lifeguard swim instructors part-time, 3 at $16.50 per hour. Senior lifeguard swim instructor part-time, 1 at $19 per hour. Are there any questions regarding this resolution?
Jeremy Ergy. Quick question. It's Red Cross trained lifeguards, correct?
That's correct.
Now, is the training paid by the town, or is out of pocket by the person?
The town is going to be reimbursing one individual for their training.
Just one? Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
and the other ones are paid for it out, the authority is paying their trust. They have a motion? A motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution 7-3, reappoint James A. Kirsch as town assessor. Be Be it resolved, the town board hereby reappoints James A. Kirsch, 3454 Humphrey Road, Marysburg, New York, for a 6-year term as town assessor effective October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2023. I'm sorry, 2031. And the 6-year term as per New York State rules and regulations. Mr. Kirsch has been serving as our assessor and serves as an assessor for 3 other towns in Ohio County as well as several in Genesee County and
Just one,
just one. Used to be seven. And serves as an instructor for the State Assessors Association. Any discussion by board? If not, can I get a motion for reappointment? I'll make a motion. Got a motion and a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Carried. Minutes from the previous town board meeting. Clerk has put in your packets copies of the minutes from June. Were there any additions or corrections? There are no corrections or additions. The minutes stand as submitted. Communications. Town clerk?
All I have is a certificate of insurance coverage from KCM Custom Built Garages, Eden, New York.
I've received a letter from the Harris Corners Fire Department. Their fire contract will be expiring soon. They are asking for a 4% raise per year for the next 5 years. As you know, costs are always rising, and this will help us to maintain our hall and equipment to better serve the community. We appreciate the consideration in this matter. Sincerely, Nick Kirsch, President, Harris Corners Fire Department. I did tell Mr. Kirsch that we generally will be holding public hearings on fire contracts in September. I know we have benefits that's coming up, and I believe there's one other one as well. We received copies of Talk of the Towns magazine from New York State Association of Towns. And I have the May and June court system reports from Justice Lindsay stating his activities with the court.